Welcome back. This is Chapter 6, Clouds, the Key to Weather Forecasting, from the Kids' Book of Weather Forecasting. This begins on page 78. It'll be in two parts. Clouds, the Key to Weather Forecasting. What happens to all that warm, light water vapor rising up into the atmosphere? A lot of it turns into clouds. Meteorologists keep a very close eye on clouds. Their size, shape, and where they hang out in the sky tell forecasters what weather those clouds will bring. So learn to read the clouds, and you'll amaze your friends and family with your weather predictions. There's a cloud in the kitchen. Boil some water in a pan with a grown-up's help. Hold a cool metal lid over the pan. What happens to the water vapor when it hits the lid? As water vapor rises up into the cooler layers of the upper atmosphere, it cools down. You already know what happens to water vapor when it cools off. Remember your wet sneakers? It condenses, see page 69, just the way it does in the kitchen when it hits the cool metal lid. Clouds are floating collections of condensed water droplets or ice crystal when the clouds form higher up in the atmosphere where it's colder. You've probably been inside a cloud before and didn't even know it. Fog is simply a cloud near the ground. A day in the life of a raindrop. See if you can trick your friends with the weather question. What does every raindrop start off as? Did they answer a snowflake? They're right. Almost every raindrop, even on a hot summer day, begins its life as a snowflake. High up where most clouds form, the temperature is below freezing, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so the water vapor turns to ice. The ice collects on tiny particles of soot, pollen, dust, and pollution, creating snow crystals that grow until they are heavy enough to begin their trip towards the ground. If the air is below freezing all the way from the cloud to the ground, then the snowflakes stay snowflakes. If the air near the ground is above freezing, the snowflakes melt, forming softer, wetter snowflakes or changing to raindrops. Sometimes the warm and cold air is in layers, so the snowflakes melt, refreeze, you get the idea. If there is a very thick layer of cold air near the ground, the raindrops slow down and freeze into tiny ice pellets or sleet, bouncing on the ground and rattling window panes and stinging your cheeks. If there is only a thin layer of cold air near the ground, just a few hundred yards or meters, then the raindrops don't have time to freeze. But if the temperature of what they land on is below freezing, they freeze as soon as they touch it. Freezing rain is one of the most dangerous types of precipitation because the ice weighs down power lines and tree limbs and makes travel extremely difficult, not to mention the coating of ice over steps, pathways, you name it. Try it. Place a softball-sized rock in your freezer for a few days. Wearing gloves, take the rock out and sprinkle it lightly with cold water. What forms on the rock? Answer: freezing rain. Weather watchers: Snowflake Bentley. Wilson, a Snowflake Bentley, was a Vermont farmer with a passion for snowflakes. He decided at age 16 to devote his life to photographing them. After capturing and photographing more than 6,000 of these delicate crystals, he concluded that no two snowflakes are exactly alike. Ask Mark: how can you tell where rain is falling? Here's a meteorologist's tip. As dark clouds approach, watch for the color to lighten up just a little. Raindrops reflect light, making the clouds a little brighter, so that's where it will be raining. As light as a feather, not. What weighs 10 million pounds, but can float in the air? Believe it or not, it's a cloud. Why don't clouds fall out of the sky? Well, they try. Gravity is always slowly pulling the clouds down, but the rising air that makes clouds pushes them back up. Even if clouds keep falling, they'd evaporate long before they fell on you. Make a rain gauge. A wide-mouthed jar works best for collecting rainfall. Then use a narrower jar to make the rain gauge so you can precisely measure even small amounts of rain. Here's what you need: a ruler, wide-mouth collecting jar, straight-sided clear jar, about an inch to an inch and a half in diameter for gauge and a permanent marker. Here's what you do. Set the ruler in your collecting jar and fill it with 1 inch of water. Pour the water into the narrow jar. Label the level of the water as 1 inch, and then divide that into smaller increments, such as 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and 1/2 of an inch. Be a meteorologist, measuring rainfall. Set your collecting jar in an open area. Measure the amount of rain in your rain gauge every day, then empty it, and record your measurements for a period of a week or 2. You may have to leave your jar out longer to have a measurable amount of precipitation, depending on the time of year and the seasonal rainfall patterns where you live. When do you get more rain? When it falls slowly and steadily, or when it's a short but heavy downpour? Ask Mark, what kind of high-tech gadget does a meteorologist use to measure rainfall? Well, actually, it's not high-tech. What we use is similar to your rain gauge. The standard rain gauge the United States National Weather Service uses is a metal cylinder 10 inches across, mounted 4 feet above the ground, so that water hitting the ground doesn't splash into the gauge. Different countries use rain gauges of different sizes, so it's difficult to make an accurate international comparison of rainfall amounts. Weather records. The wettest place in the world is Mount Wailea on the island of Kauai in Hawaii. It gets about 460 inches of rain every year. That's more than 38 feet. But if it's thunderstorms you're looking for, head to the island of Java in Indonesia. It has thunderstorms about 322 days a year. Clouds, big clues for weather forecasters. The 2 most important things to observe about a cloud are its shape, how high it is in the sky. Learn to read these signs and you'll really amaze your friends and family with your weather predictions. Weather watchers. Luke Howard. Luke Howard was an amateur meteorologist. In 1803, he created a cloud identification system that classified clouds by their shapes and heights. He named 10 categories of clouds, all stemming from the 3 major types: cirrus, cumulus, and stratus. The Legion of Cloud Heroes. These guys will help you remember the Latin meanings of cloud names, the key to clouds' shapes, and where they hang out in the sky. Alto Man. Alto means high. The Incredible Cirrus. Cirrus is curl. Queen Cumulus. Cumulus means pile. Nimbus the whiner. Nimbus equals rain. Stratus boy. Stratus equals layer. This page has to be turned this direction. A key for the cloud watchers. It's not really too much to read. It's more of a visual. The different placements of the clouds. Forecasters getting it right rules. High-flying clouds, cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus clouds signal that a storm is due in 12 to 24 hours. Quick take forecasts. You look out the window in the morning and see the sky is full of cirrocumulus clouds. You know this is a signal of a storm approaching, but your barometer is still steady or falling slowly. Your family is excited about going on a picnic scheduled from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. today. Do you cancel today's outing and reschedule, or do you confidently state that it won't rain? Answer. Although those cirrocumulus clouds will continue to arrive and make the afternoon cloudier, you've checked your barometer so you can assure everyone that it won't rain during the picnic. Your family can go ahead with its plans. Forecasters getting it right rules. Stuck in the middle clouds. When altostratus clouds show up by themselves, they usually just mean some light precipitation will fall here and there. When cirrus clouds are dropping to alto-type clouds, look for rain or snow in less than 12 hours. Quick take forecast. Your new sled has been collecting dust and you are anxious for snow. After some sunshine this morning, altostratus clouds showed up quickly. The barometer is falling a bit and the wind is from the southwest. Is this the storm that dumps the snow? Answer: not likely. Showing up suddenly, altostratus clouds might be just a weak weather system that brings light precipitation instead of a part of a bigger storm. Also, winds from the southwest are mild and dry, which could limit the amount of moisture for the storm. Your sled may have to wait a little longer. We'll continue on part 2.